Today we're talking about the co-op games from 1997. But first, let's see what else was happening in 97. Symphony of the Night, Oddworld: Abe's Odyssey, Star Fox 64, Sonic R, Final Fantasy VII, Yoshi's Story. The DualShock controller for the PlayStation 1 was released, as well as the Super Nintendo Junior and the Game.com. Now let's talk about the co-op games. Battle Circuit, released in March of 1997, marked several significant lasts for Capcom. It was their final scrolling beat-em-up arcade game, the last in the original 2D format before the transition to 3D graphics. Unlike its predecessors, Battle Circuit introduced unique gameplay elements, such as the ability to purchase upgrade discs for new character moves, team attacks, and battle downloads that offered buffs. With vibrant graphics, catchy sound, and a quirky storyline involving bounty hunters battling bizarre foes, this game is a standout in the beat-em-up genre, providing replay value with its 5 characters and diverse movesets, and the whole game can be played in 4-player co-op. The sequel to Cotton, known as Cotton 2 in the arcades, departed from its predecessor's formula and introduced several notable changes. This shoot-'em-up running on Sega's STV hardware featured a revamped magic system with 4 elemental spells: ice, fire, wind, and light, each affecting your ship's primary weapon. However, using these spells consumed crystals, potentially leaving you with a weak default attack. The game introduced a life bar for a more forgiving experience, and command shots executed via fighting game-like motions, allowing multi-directional firing. Players could grab and throw nearly everything in the game, including enemies and their shots. Cotton 2 also offered a 2-player mode and retained the series' nonsensical interludes, though the large player sprite size occasionally made dodging enemy fire challenging. Visually, it boasted gorgeous 2D graphics with impressive sprite rotation effects for its gigantic bosses and intricate backgrounds. The Saturn version, nearly arcade perfect, even introduced a Saturn mode with graphical variations and enhanced control options. DodonPachi in the arcades elevates the typical vertical shooter genre to new heights. In this relentless bullet-hell challenge, you control a one-man army equipped with a never-ending stream of devastating deathfire that engulfs enemy forces in fiery obliteration. The game's intense strategic bullet dodging and sensory onslaught are complemented by hard-edged rock tracks that accompany your fiery path through enemy-filled skies and canyons. You choose from 3 specialized ships, each with its unique strengths, and 2 small satellites that unleash a storm of bullets upon foes. The game's small hit zone allows for skillful navigation through torrents of enemy bullets, striking a balance between formidable firepower and challenging gameplay. DodonPachi is truly one of the best shoot-'em-ups of all time, and it's made even better when played in co-op. Elemental Gearbolt, developed by Alpha Systems, distinguished itself in the light gun shooter genre by enlisting renowned collaborators such as Madhouse for animation, Rintaro as director, and Hitoshi Yanada for character and enemy designs. While adhering to the genre's core gameplay mechanics, it deviated significantly in tone and narrative, adopting a somber and contemplative mood akin to fantasy novels, rather than action movies, setting itself apart from the typical blockbuster-style shooters. Players navigated through levels armed with 3 elemental weapons, striving to maintain hit chains in a challenging combo system. The game's leveling system offered health upgrades, but demanded perfection for maximum strength, reinforcing its unforgiving nature. Elemental Gearbolt is one of the only light gun shooters I've ever seen that has RPG elements. The soundtrack is amazing, the visuals were really impressive for the time, and the 2-player co-op RPG action in a light gun game is just such a unique experience, and it's one of the best light gun games of all time. Herc's adventure is a hidden gem in terms of gameplay, with a comical cartoon intro setting the tone. Players can select from 3 characters: Hercules, Atlanta, or Jason, each with their distinct strengths and weaknesses. The game unfolds across a sprawling overhead map where relentless enemies like skeletons, cyclops, and fearsome warthogs challenge your combat skills. It's the gameplay mechanics that truly shine here. featuring straightforward yet engaging combat and exciting objectives, like securing Medusa's head to progress. Boss fights, like the showdown with Hydra, add a thrilling dimension to the gameplay. With the ability to freeze enemies, employ pepper breath, and collect various power-ups, Herc's adventure keeps players engaged and eager to push forward. This game, a blend of action and humor, offers an enjoyable, compelling gaming experience that captures the essence of classic adventures. Schbibinman 0, released for the Super Famicom via the Satellaview in 1997, takes the series in a fresh direction, blending beat-em-up and platformer elements. The game offers diverse gameplay, with characters using boxing and swordplay. The Schbibin Buster, a charged attack, adds depth, especially in two-player mode with the Super Schbibin Buster. Multi-tiered levels, complex boss battles, and limited health create challenging gameplay. Despite modest graphics, the game's smooth animation and catchy music contribute to its appeal. Schbibinman 0 remains a notable entry in the franchise and a standout Satellaview title. Kirby's Dreamland 3 faced unfavorable timing upon its Super Nintendo release, overshadowed by the Nintendo 64's arrival and the exceptional Kirby Superstar. However, its unique features still stand the test of time, and it's a game that's worth revisiting. The game introduces Kirby's animal friends, each with distinct abilities, that, when combined with Kirby's copy powers, offer diverse gameplay experiences. Additionally, Gooey, a second playable character, adds co-op potential, but falls short of the charm of Kirby's Superstar co-op mode. Despite Gooey's quirks, Kirby's Dreamland 3 offers a quaint and enjoyable adventure, especially for those who missed it during its initial release, making it worth a look for Kirby fans. Fighting Force, developed by the creators of Tomb Raider, is a 3D beat-em-up that's worth checking out, even though it's a little rough around the edges. The game offers 4 character choices, each with unique strengths, but character selection doesn't significantly impact gameplay. It resembles a 3D version of Final Fight, but lacks the personality of its predecessor. The 3D environment leads to issues like off-screen enemy gunfire. Graphically, it's acceptable, but could benefit from more animation. The sound is passable, controls are somewhat cumbersome due to multiple actions mapped to a single button, but the game is relatively straightforward, with a simplistic approach even in its final boss battle. The 3D beat-em-up genre was always a bit hit and miss, but Fighting Force is a game that's worth exploring. Darius, released by Taito in 1997, is a shoot-'em-up arcade game and the 4th installment in the Darius series. It introduces 3-dimensional polygonal graphics while maintaining 2-dimensional gameplay. Players control the Silver Hawk spaceship, battling enemies, avoiding obstacles, and confronting bosses at the end of each zone. The game features 15 zones with branching paths and multiple endings. A unique mechanic is the capture ball, allowing players to capture enemies to gain enhancements. Additionally, beam dueling is introduced, where players can engage in duels with bosses using powerful laser beams. Darius version 2 offers a beginner mode with reduced penalties upon death. The plot revolves around a conflict between humanoids and Biovessel. This is another solid shoot-'em-up in the series. Panzer Bandit is an underrated beat-em-up that came out exclusively in Japan on the PlayStation. The gameplay is reminiscent of arcade-style beat-em-ups, but offers combos, power-ups, and excellent multiplayer features. You embark on a quest to stop invading enemies who are destroying cities and causing havoc. The game takes you through various locations, including cities, dungeons, and even a flying robot whale base. The graphics have a charming cartoon anime style that holds up great. The sound features electric guitar music that, while good, can become repetitive over time. What truly shines is the multiplayer aspect. The single-player campaign may get repetitive after a while, but the multiplayer mode keeps things exciting. This is an underrated beat-em-up that everyone should give a try. Rampage World Tour came out in the arcades, PlayStation 1, and the Sega Saturn. In this game, you and up to 2 friends can take on the roles of transformed monsters, George, Ralph, or Lizzie, on a mission to smash the labs responsible for your transformation, while wreaking havoc on global cities like Chicago, Madrid, and San Francisco. The objective in each level is to destroy everything in your path, whether it's climbing buildings and pummeling them, gobbling up turkey for health, or causing chaos. You'll also face off against helicopters, planes, tanks, and more, all aiming to take you down. Despite the initial thrill of destruction, Rampage World Tour's repetitive gameplay and imprecise controls may wear thin quickly. This reboot of Rampage, to me, is a step up from the original arcade games. And even though it is repetitive and the gameplay is shallow, it can be fun for a quick pick up and play with friends. Shinrei Jusatsushi Tarōmaru, also known as Psychic Killer Tarōmaru or Spiritual Assassin Tarōmaru, is an elusive and highly sought-after title on the Sega Saturn that only came out in Japan. Developed by Time Warner's Interactive, this game stands out due to its rarity. In this side-scrolling 2.5D action game, you assume the role of Tarōmaru, a ninja with psychic powers, or his companion, Enkai, both tasked with battling mythical foes in a medieval Japanese setting. While the game draws comparisons to Konami and Treasure classics, it offers a unique combat system involving psychic powers, targeting cursors, and hypnotizing enemies to fight alongside you. The targeting system can be finicky, but once you get the hang of it, it actually makes sense, and it feels pretty good. Tarōmaru features plenty of action, formidable boss fights, and an arcade-style experience, making it one of the best co-op games on the Sega Saturn. Shock Troopers is a top-down run-and-gun shooter for the Neo Geo. It might have been overshadowed by the Metal Slug series, but it offers a unique gameplay experience with Lonely Wolf and team mode options where you can switch between 3 out of 8 characters on the fly. It adds depth to the game. The branching routes, each with distinct levels, enhance replayability. While graphics may seem simple, detailed character animations compensate. The standout feature is the outstanding soundtrack with drum and bass tunes and memorable boss battle themes. Tight controls and strategic rolling make gameplay enjoyable. Shock Troopers Challenge encourages 1 credit clears, and its predictably patterned enemies reward skill development. This is definitely one of the best co-op games on the Neo Geo. Time Crisis 2 is a light gun shooter that builds upon its predecessor's success. It introduces co-op gameplay, diversifies enemy types, and amps up the action. The hit counter mechanic, rewarding accuracy speed, becomes central. While solo play lacks the same thrill due to the NPC's companion's ineffectiveness, with a friend by your side, it becomes one of the most satisfying co-op light gun games. The cover-based gameplay, mixed with the foot pedal to jump out and shoot your enemies, adds a layer of strategy that usually isn't present in light gun games. Time Crisis 2 is still considered to be one of the best light gun games of all time. Diddy Kong Racing is often compared to Mario 64, and while it may lack originality and be excessively cute, it stands on its own as an excellent kart racer. The game offers strategic, organized gameplay with 30 well-designed courses, boss races, silver coin challenges, and more, making it versatile and deep. It introduces 2 new vehicles, the plane and hovercraft, along with power drifts, a sharp turn technique, weapons, and helpful bananas. Visually, it's pretty impressive for the Nintendo 64. The audio boasts charming character voices and well-timed music. Diddy Kong Racing, although a clone, in my opinion, it surpasses Mario Kart in many aspects. And at the beginning of the game, if you type in Joint Venture in the cheat codes menu, you can play the adventure mode in 2-player co-op. So those are some of the co-op games from 1997. What are some games that we missed? And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our video from last week where we talked about the co-op games from 1996. Thank you for watching.